very good morning to all of you. Now let's start our next chapter, that is seeds, structure and germination. So before I will go with this chapter, I would like to recap three definitions. What is fruit, what is a seed and what is a grain. As I have already told you, fruit is the ripened ovary which contains a seed. Fruit is a ripened ovary which contains a seed, and around it, it is having a fruit wall. It has a fruit wall, and this fruit wall is also known as pericarp. Pericarp. So this is also, fruit wall is also known as pericarp. So what did I say? I said ovary. What is ovary? Ovary is a fruit. Okay, so what is fruit? Fruit is a ripened ovary which contains a seed and it protects the seed. Now, what is ovule? What is ovule? If I'll say what is a seed? Seed is a ripened ovule. This one. Okay, seed is a, can you see these seeds? Seeds. These are the seeds. Seed is a ripened ovule which contains embryo inside it. Seed is a ripened ovule which contains embryo inside it. And how does that embryo form? It gets formed by the fusion of male nuclei plus egg cell. Alright. Now what is a grain? What is the difference between a seed and a grain? Grain, actually it is a fruit in which fruit wall and the seed coat, they both are fused together. Okay, for example, here if you can see, I have taken few seeds. Okay, I have taken few seeds. These are the seeds, and these rice, these are the grains. What is the difference between these two? Why do we call it as a seed and why do we call them grain? See, as I've already told you, seed is a ripened ovule. And what is a grain? Grain is actually a fruit. Okay, seed is having a seed coat around it. Seed is having a seed coat around it, and fruit is having a fruit wall around it. But what about the seed like rice, maize? What about them? Why do we call them grain? Because in this, the seed coat and the fruit wall, they both are fused together. So that's why they are fused together. They are fused together to give protection to the embryo. That's why we call it grain. I hope the difference between seed and grain is absolutely clear. Okay, so why do we call it grain? Because here both pericarp, that is fruit wall, plus seed coat, they are fused together. Now, since we are talking about the seeds, let me give you more information about the seeds. So what is the seed? Seed is a mature ovule. Now it contains a tiny embryo. Like I have already told you, it contains a tiny embryo. From that embryo, a new plant arises later on germination. Embryo remains inactive in dormant state. Now what is a dormant state? Till that embryo, the seed, okay, it is not going to get proper light, oxygen, temperature and water. Not light, proper temperature, oxygen, all right, and water, it will not germinate. So till that time, the seed will remain inside the soil in a living form. So that state is known as the dormant state. All right. Now, seed contains food material. Yes, of course, all the seeds, they contains food material in the form of endosperm or cotyledon, which keep or nourishes this cotyledon or endosperm. Their work is to give nourishment to the embryo, all right, which is present inside the seed. Now, seed can withstand dormant conditions. There are seeds which can stay inside the soil for 100 of years, okay, but they will still live. For 100 of years, they can still be alive, but they will still live till the time they are not getting the suitable conditions. And what are those suitable conditions? A proper temperature, water, alright, and oxygen. Till the time they are not getting these three conditions, they will not germinate. So till the time the seed will not germinate, it is inside the soil, we call this condition as dormant state of a seed. Now seeds can be of various sizes. They can be very small like poppy seed, orchid seeds. They can be larger ones like watermelon, muskmelon. There can be largest one like coconut seed. Okay, so they are of varying sizes. They are of varying small sizes, starting from small to the biggest one. Now, according to the seeds, we can classify the seeds into two types. They can be monocotyledonous. They can be dicotyledonous. Now, what is monocot? Monocot are the seeds which contains only one cotyledon. And what is cotyledon? Which provides food to the embryo. If they contain only one cotyledon, we call them monocotyledonous seeds. An example is maize or grasses. Example is maize or grasses. Dicotyledonous are the seeds which contains two cotyledons. For example, pea. Alright, which for example, pea, custard, this one, gram, pea. Alright, so these all are the example of dicotyledonous seeds. You can see it like supposing, take wheat. Okay, wheat is an example of monocotyledonous seed. Take wheat and just soak it overnight in the water. In the morning, you try to break this wheat into two halves. You will not be able to do it because it is having only single cotyledon. But with the gram, take black gram or white gram, just soak it overnight in the water, and in the morning if you will try to separate it, you can easily separate it into two halves and you can see two cotyledons. Okay, you can see easily two cotyledons. That's why we say that the gram or the pea seeds, these are the dicotyledonous seeds. Now, on the basis of endosperm, whether it is present in a seed or not, it is also, we can also divide the seed into two types. One is albuminous, another one is ex-albuminous. Now, what is albuminous? Albuminous are the endospermic seeds in which thick and fleshy endosperm is present, but very thin and very slight cotyledon is present. But the main source of nourishment to the embryo will be only endosperm. For example, maize seed. So maize seed is albuminous. Here I have given the examples: custard, apple, poppy. These all seeds are albuminous seeds. That means they are endospermic seeds. Now, ex-albuminous means non-endospermic seeds. That means in which endosperm is very little or it is absolutely absent. And the main source of nourishment is cotyledon, which is thick and fleshy in these type of seeds. For example, gram or pea. So here I have drawn two diagrams, children. One diagram is of bean seed, another one is of maize grain. So maize grain is monocotyledonous seed as well as albuminous. That means it is having single cotyledon, okay, and albuminous because the main source of nourishment to the embryo is endosperm. Next, if I talk about the bean seed, then bean seed is a dicotyledonous. That means it is having two cotyledons, 1 and 2. Okay, they are having two cotyledons. Plus, it is non-endospermic seed because it has the nourishment. It gives the nourishment is provided to the embryo by the cotyledons that are present in this. So this is all about the seed, the information about the seed, that what is seed and what are its general characteristics. Here I have told you two types of seeds, monocotyledonous and dicotyledonous, and on the basis of the endosperm, we have albuminous, that is endospermic seed, and ex-albuminous, that is non-endospermic seed. And now if you will understand these two, okay, if you will understand nicely these two, you will be able to you will be able to understand which type of seed maize grain is and which type of seed bean seed is, in which category you can put both of these seeds. Alright, so okay, let us start with the bean seed first. I will be explaining the structure of bean seed first. Let's start with the external structure. Now the bean seed, there are so many types of bean seeds, like lime bean, French bean. There are so many types of beans, but they all have the same structure. They all are kidney shaped. They all have the kidney shaped structure. Okay, and on the concave side, they have the hilum. Okay, let us start with the external layers first. So this is the structure of the bean shape, and the first thing that I have told you, that it is the structure of the bean shape is always just like a kidney. Okay, it is just like a kidney. So here you can see this portion, the curved portion. All right, this is the portion which is showing you hilum. What is hilum? Here I have written here H-I-L-U-M. What is hilum? Actually, hilum represents that how ovule was attached with the ovary with the help of placenta. So this symbolizes that how ovule was attached to the ovary with the help of placenta. Now, if you will see outside, it is having this hilum is a whitish scare type of structure. It is whitish scare type of structure on the concave side of the seed. Now here, if you will see, there is a small pore-like structure which is known as micropyle also. Okay. Now, outer and on the seed, the outer covering, the seed coat, the first layer of the seed coat is testa. And what is the function of the testa? It covers the seed and it is brownish in color. It covers the seed only, and also it protects the seed from any mechanical injury, from the invasion of the bacteria, fungi, anything external which can damage a seed. So it is a protective layer. And just next to it, we have tegmen. Here you can see T-E-G-M-E-N. Next to it, we have tegmen. This is also a protective layer. Now here you can see these two portions, that bean seed consists of two cotyledon, 1 and 2. So that's why it belongs to which category? Dicotyledonous. And since the nourishment source is cotyledon, so it belongs to X-albuminous. It belongs to X-albuminous. Okay. Now, so next is scale-like structure, which I have already explained you, that is hilum. And then there is a pore-like structure present, which is known as micropyle, which I have already told you that what is the function of micropyle. From the micropyle, it is present in the integument of the ovule. From the micropyle, okay, that is a pore from which the pollen tube gets inside the ovule for the process of fertilization. So here micropyle is also present in the seed, and what is its function? Actually, it helps in the absorption of water, and when it will absorb the water, it will make the seed coat soft, so that it will help in the germination, so that the embryo can come out of the seed coat and germination can happen. So this is the one function. Another function, from this pore, from the micropyle, it helps in exchanging of the gases. If it will help in the exchange of the gases, then what will happen? It will also help in the process of germination. So this is the process of micropyle. Now, okay, so these two layers are done. Micropyle is done. A whitish scale-like structure on the concave side, that is hilum, is done. Cotyledon is done. Next is our embryo part, which is inside this bean seed. Okay, if you want to see this embryo part, you can do one thing. Just take almonds. You must be having almonds at your home, and just soak them overnight. And in the morning, kindly open them very nicely. In the morning, they will become very soft. So you can easily remove the seed coat if you want to remove it. Otherwise, also you can open it into 2 halves, but very softly you need to. Don't be harsh. Otherwise, the embryo will be destroyed. So you will open it, and as you will open, you will see this type of structure. It will be of white in color. Okay. So here you will see 2 leaves-like structure. This is the embryo. these two leaf-like structures, actually we call it plumule. Okay, we call it plumule, which further on when the germination happens, it forms the shoot of the plant. And this structure, which is towards the lower side, this structure will form the radicle. We call it radicle, and it will form the roots. Okay, so this plumule leaf-like structure will form the shoot, and this radicle will form the roots. Here there is one more structure, that is apicotyle, and there is one more that is known as hypocotyle. Apicotyle is the region. This embryo is attached with one of the cotyledon, any one of the cotyledon. And this apicotyle, what is this apicotyle? It is a region of axis between the cotyledon and the point where it is attached with it, where the embryo is attached with it. Okay. Further on, when I will be explaining you germination, type of germination, you will be able to understand it more, that what is apicotyle and what is hypocotyle. Right now also you can just think like region of axis between the point of attachment where the cotyledon is attached with this plumule. That axis is known as apicotyle. And after that, below this cotyledon, we have hypocotyle. This lower portion, this is hypocotyle, and this portion is apicotyle. So this is the structure of the bean seed. I just want to explain it once more. What did I say? The outer, it consists of the outermost this protective layer, that is testa, and next to it we have tegmen. Then it consists of two cotyledons, a whitish scar, hilum, micropyle, which helps in exchanging the gases, as well as it helps in absorbing the water, which later on helps in the germination. And here I have told you the embryo part, which consists of plumule, the upper portion which consists of plumule, which later on develop into shoot, and the lower portion, it consists of radicle. We call it radicle, which later on it gets formed into root. So this is the structure of the bean seed. I'm just going to give you 20 seconds. Kindly see the structure of bean seed once. Now, next, maize grain. I would like to introduce the structure of maize grain to you. Now, here, this is the structure. This is the whole structure of the maize grain. The outer portion, as I have told you, that grain. What is grain? In which the fruit wall and the seed wall, they both are fused together. So, what do we call the fruit wall? Pericarp. So, here I have written fused pericarp and testa. So, outer covering is fused pericarp and testa. Majority of the portion, like major portion of this maize or this grain, consists of endosperm. So, if it is endospermic, then in which category does it fall? It falls in the category of albuminous seeds. And also, since it is having only a single cotyledon, so it will fall into the category of monocotyledonous plants. So this structure, majority of the structure of this grain, it consists of endosperm, which gives nourishment to the embryo. And this endosperm, it is covered by a proteinaceous layer, or a layer which is made up of protein, that is known as alluron layer. That is known as alluron layer. And endosperm is, endosperm and this embryo portion, they are divided. And they are divided by a thin layer which is made up of epithelial cells, okay? And this layer is known as epithelium. What did I say? I said embryo structure, the embryo part and the endosperm part, it is divided by a layer which is made up of cells, epithelial cells, and this layer is known as epithelium. And this outer portion around the endosperm is made up of alluron layer. Please notice I have told you around the endosperm only, not around the embryo. Alright. Now, next is our embryo structure. Here you can see we have only single. Here we have a single cotyledon, a very thin cotyledon present here, that is known as scutellum. Scutellum. S-C-U-T-E-L-L-U-M. Scutellum. It consists of single cotyledon. Okay. Now after this we can see we have plumule. Okay, and here we have radicle. Plumule is covered by a protective sheath that is known as coleoptile. C-O-L-E-O-P-T-I-L-E. Coleoptile. Alright. Here I am just going to write it again so that these are the spellings. Coleoptile. Okay, and here radicle is also covered by a protective sheath which is known as coleorhiza. Coleorhiza. C-O-L-E-O-R-H-I-Z-A. So this is the whole structure of the maize grain. I just want to recap it again. So I told you that maize grain, the outermost layer, it is made up of fused pericarp and testa. That means the fruit wall and the seed pod, they are fused together to protect this grain. So it is a fruit. Okay, it is a fruit. Now most of the portion consists of the endosperm, and this endosperm around it, it consists of a proteinaceous layer that is known as alurone layer. And endospermic portion and embryo portion, they both are divided by the epithelium layer. And in this embryo portion we can see we have a single cotyledon that is known as scutellum. And here we can see, here we have on the upper side we have plumule, which will later on develop into shoot. And this plumule is covered by a protective sheath that is known as coleoptile. And here we can see radicle on the lower portion, which will later on develop into roots. And it is also covered by a protective sheath known as coleorhiza. So this is the whole structure of the maize grain. So that's all about the seed today. Now very soon I will be meeting you with the next video, and in that video I will be telling you something more about these two seeds, the difference between these two seeds, and I will be talking about the germination and all other things. Till then, kindly watch the video again and again so that you should not feel any difficulty to learn these all things. Thank you. Have a nice day.